Joining us now, Steve Smith, NFL Network, 16 years, 5-time Pro Bowler. All right, Steve. By the way, this is interesting. As a player ages, we had him for a second. Steve, when a player ages, obviously a player, when you were getting to the end of your career, so it looks like to me about every 2 out of 3 weekends, Ben Roethlisberger looks like he should retire. But it's interesting. So last weekend he's good, and he does have 5 game-winning drives, Steve, which are tied for the most in the league. And so as you get to that last year, I could see a receiver, a quarterback saying, hey, I still got it. I just don't got it every Sunday. When you watch Ben, and maybe go back to your career, it feels like to me 2 out of 3 weekends I feel like he's just too old. And I looked this morning and I'm like, he's got 5 game-winning drives. What do you do if you're the Steelers with Big Ben?
Well, if you're the Steelers with Big Ben, you know what you have is a guy that is aging. That's the facts. Does he bring something to the table? He has 5 game-winning drives, so yes, he does. However, they must, at some point, start to find the guy that can step in. And by doing that, they must have all of their criteria in which they want a new franchise quarterback. And they can't compromise on those standards and criteria they have. They may compromise in he may not be the right height, but you can't compromise in arm strength. Can they process information fast enough when you're playing a AFC North team that has in a division where the Baltimore Ravens, where they have Wink Martindale, who's going to blitz you. He's going to line up everybody at the line of scrimmage and then bail out. So how a quarterback processes information, you can't fudge that.
Yeah.
And you have to look at the guy, whoever will replace Ben next year, that person must be the same criteria in which how they choose coaches.
Yeah.
Coach Tomlin has been there for 15 years because they saw something in him at a young age that says he will be able to endure the test of time.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing with Coach Tomlin. And you need to find that in your franchise quarterback. And somebody listening to this could say, well, Steve, that's easy to say. Absolutely. It is easy to say. But that's the dilemma they're in. They can't compromise because if they do, they find themselves like the Carolina Panthers, my hometown team, where you're trying to figure it out. You have 3 guys now who all have good attributes, but their deficiencies are glaring.
Yes.
So glaring that an offensive coordinator has kind of been exposed and also relieved of his duties because his system doesn't fit the player.
Right. Yeah. It is interesting. The AFC is so jammed, so close that the Steelers play tonight. And if I said to you, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns, if I said to you this morning, and there's not a right answer maybe on this, Baltimore feels like the best team to me. Who feels like in that? Because right now they could all win it and they could all finish 4th. And the Steelers tonight, it feels like a massive game for Pittsburgh tonight. Yeah,
it is.
Who's the best team in your opinion in that division and why?
See, here's the answer, and I'm not avoiding it, but this is something that you have to think about, which I've been looking at, and I have my paper here because I'm sitting here. I'm nervous for Pittsburgh, and here's why. The remaining schedule they have, obviously the Vikings tonight that I'm doing. Then they have the Titans who, whether Derrick Henry is there, they're going to run the ball. You have the Chiefs. That's a track meet. So that's going to be a big game. Then you have the Browns. They're going to be running the ball. And then you finish with the Baltimore Ravens, who is going to be running the ball. So you go into the playoffs if you get in beat up, bruised, battered, because 5 of the games that you're having, 4 out of them run the ball.
Yeah.
They run the ball till they're blind. So they are saying, look, whether you want to be physical or not, you're going to be in a physical game.
Yeah.
So the Vikings are going to run the ball. Titans are going to run the ball. Then you get a Then you get the flag football game with the Kansas City Chiefs and all that speed, and then you're back to the mini car crashes with the Browns.
Yeah.
Then you're back with the big mini car crash, and the emotional high that you have to deal with the Steelers and with the Steelers and the Ravens, like you saw. So to have all these games that literally are going to go down to the wire because of how much they possess the ball and run it, it's going to be emotional game, physical game, and you're supposed to be going into playoffs feeling excited and taking a level up, where you've had literally 4 playoff games, and now you got to have a 5th, which is the actual playoffs. I kind of see this as a no-win for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Even if they get the playoffs, some things are going to show that they just emotionally will not be able to withstand and sustain that type of physical gameplay at the end of the season.
No, it's fair. By the way, so you're studying for this game, NFL Network. So they play the Vikings, and it's interesting. Like sometimes you just know it's time to fire a coach. And then you get to Mike Zimmer, and you're like, he's a little conservative as the league gets more offensive. He doesn't have great relationships with players, but I never feel like Minnesota's losing because they have a bad coach. But if they lose tonight, Steve, I could argue he's on the hottest seat outside of Matt Nagy in the NFL. When you look at the Vikings, is it time to inject? I mean, I loved Andy Reid, but I understood Philadelphia going, we just need new juice. Pete Carroll's great. I think Seattle needs a new voice. If Mike Zimmer loses tonight, is it kind of time for a new voice?
I don't know if it's time for a new voice, but it certainly seems like things as planned when you have a guy like a defensive coordinator who was brought there to improve the defense, and the defense has not improved.
Yeah.
Right? That's like hiring a caterer to cater a big event, and they bring chicken fingers for Chick-fil-A. That's tough. That's tough. Like, all you getting is nuggets? Man, I understand you're bringing me the Polynesian sauce, and I love it. But I got some different folks here. They want some, they want some calamari. They want some different things, and you're bringing finger foods with steak prices.
Yeah,
that doesn't vote well for the paying customer called the fans.
Yeah,
they have an expectation. And the other part that I don't like is Kirk Cousins being blamed for not playing well. He's playing well.
Yeah.
This defense is letting them down.
Yeah.
And so now Kirk Cousins could play better. Well, how much better do you want a guy to play when he's a tier 2 quarterback with tier 1 statistics?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Listen, I don't disagree on this. Kirk Cousins is not the issue. This is my problem with Pete Carroll in Seattle. It's a defensive coach, and the trend for both defenses is down. When Kingsbury goes to Arizona, the trend for the offense goes up. So I totally agree with you on this, is that the head coach, his side of the ball can never be the liability. If you're Sean McVay, I can't be losing because of the offense. If I'm losing because of
you shouldn't be.
That's right. You shouldn't be. By the way, all these young receivers out there, you're going to see Justin Jefferson, Chase Claypool. I mean, there's a lot of them in tonight's game. If there was one receiver in the NFL right now, just one young guy, Steve, that you really like, his toughness, you were a tough guy, his route running, what young guy is it for you?
It's interesting you said Claypool, because Claypool I like him. He's a nice talent, but he's also a guy that at times seems to have only a few routes, and jump ball seems to always be in that route. So I believe that the Steelers also, besides the quarterback, they need to get a veteran wide receiver to help somebody. Deontay Johnson, he's dropping some passes, and he always does something that you just go, oh, he's turning a corner, but he does something that you just makes you scratch your head, right? And Claypool is this guy who's coming off the scene, but people are starting to figure him out. If you take away the deep ball, if you take away the jump ball, he kind of disappears in the game.
Yeah.
And that's just me looking at him and saying, I need more from him, right? Justin Jefferson is one of those guys. He's leading the league 20-plus passes by, a Kirk Cousins, who's a guy that is risk averse, but he's throwing the ball down the field. So what I really love is I love Justin Jefferson because he's doing a lot of his work everywhere, but he's not being hid in the slot and running routes against linebackers. He's really only playing 20% in the slot. So 80% of his work is on the outside. So he's dominating outside, where we're seeing generally a lot of these big guys are playing inside.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams lines up everywhere. He's not Devontae Adams because he doesn't play with the Aaron Rodgers, but he is a Justin Jefferson that you need to be aware of. He keeps defensive coordinators up at night, right? Got those coordinators sleeping in their office because they have to draw up plays to neutralize, to limit the damage he can do. And when I look at these wide receivers, there's no Justin Jefferson on the Pittsburgh Steelers because Claypool doesn't keep you up at night, because if you take away the deep ball, he's nowhere involved. Deontay is getting there, but he's not there yet. Juju isn't playing. James Washington is still a guy. I like to call him a bull in a china closet. He needs to understand where it is. So having a veteran like Adam Thielen on that team, like Justin sees, Adam may not be coaching up Justin, but Adam puts enough work in there that Justin just needs to watch. Yeah. And I believe that's what he's doing. And I'm just using Adam Thielen as an example of when you have a veteran that knows how to go about his business, that veteran doesn't have to coach that young player. That veteran just needs to be himself. And look what Justin is receiving by watching Adam Thielen, and on top of his natural ability that he has and his willingness to be a dominant wide receiver. He's teachable.
All right, Steve, we got to run. Named a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year. Good seeing you, buddy. Good luck tonight. Vikings Steelers on Fox. It is a great one. Thanks, bud. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.